Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Freshly Pressed. Today we have with us Robbie J. Atkinson. Welcome to the show, Robbie.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being on the show. Robbie, tell us a bit about yourself, how you got into comics in the first place, how you started reading them. Tell us a bit about your origins as a comic reader and a writer.
Yes. Honestly, I grew up with a dad who just liked cartoons in general. And he liked film, and that kind of was really a very big catalyst for me. But I also was part of the generation that used to watch Cartoon Network. One thing that's like going away, and then two used to watch it when Toonami was a thing, and that was my exposure to Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, a number of other series. And then I used to sneak up
Hmm.
at night and watch Adult Swim. So I used to watch like Inuyasha, Outlaw Star, Cowboy Bebop, things like that. And I think that was really my immersion into anime as it was. I would say I didn't really get into manga until later on, maybe like 10 years later, when I studied abroad. And I remember in Tours, France, there used to be a anime and manga shop. And I remember buying manga for the first time, but when I bought it, it was like entirely in French. So that was actually how I practiced my French, was reading
Wow.
in French. It was fun. It was called Batum, which it's I think it was discontinued. I don't even think they finished the first season, but it was just interesting enough for me to learn and read along and things like that. So
Yeah, yeah.
mhm, that's
That's
it.
amazing. That's actually how I learned to read some words in Chinese because I used to live in Taiwan before, and
Mm,
the manga there was in Mandarin. So the only way I could learn some of the words was to help ask some of my colleagues, can you translate this for me? And then they would explain what that symbol mean, because the entire Chinese lettering is around symbology and things like that. So
yeah.
that's how I started identifying some of the words. Yeah.
Huh.
It's
Fascinating.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's really something I think.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, for the I guess for like the
Oh, I'm
language
sorry,
learning
there's a bit
process,
of
but also
delay.
the cultural immersion process as well. So that's like another point that people don't really think about, is learning about another culture in another language. So
That is very, very true. This. I don't know if you know this guy, Anas Abdullah. He's a fantastic comic book writer, and he basically learned English. He's from Syria, and the only English thing they had there was X Men. So he learned English by reading X Men comics. So,
yeah, look at that. See, there you have it. Even more proof.
I know. Comics are amazing in general. So yeah, you said you grew up on a healthy dose of cartoons and Cartoon Network. Uh, what were your favorite shows growing up on Cartoon Network? Because I was a big Cartoon Network kid too. I loved everything. Yeah.
Oh
What was
man, okay.
yours?
So I loved Courage the Cowardly Dog. I loved Kids Next Door. And I used to love the Powerpuff Girls. It was kind of tied between maybe Kids Next Door and Samurai Jack. But I for sure I loved Powerpuff Girls. And for sure I loved Kid Next Door. And
Ah,
Courage the Cowardly Dog. Like
yes.
those two for sure.
I used to love Courage the Cowardly Dog. I have never ever found anyone else who has watched that show. So here we are. That's so amazing.
Oh my god! What? Courage was hilarious to me because he was always right, and because he was a dog, no one ever listened to him. I mean, much less really could understand him because he did that weird babbling thing, right? But like, it's just fascinating because he was the unlikely character that was always saving the day. I don't know. I love that trope.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, the one thing that show did really well, like you said, was create like really like unlikely characters that would be like, you would write them off on a given day, but they were there saving the day. So underdogs, for the lack of no pun intended.
See what you did there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so that's amazing. I used to love all the Hanna Barbera stuff, anywhere from like I love Powerpuff Girls too, by the way. Um,
Oh.
and
Wait, by default, I have to
it's
ask you which
it's
part
it's
girl.
amazing. My favorite. Bubbles.
Yeah, you know what? I feel that. I feel that. Bubbles was. I was just talking to someone about that the other day because Bubbles is interesting. Bubbles was very sweet, but then she would just go feral on her villains sometimes and be like biting their leg, or she would just like decide to, So she was sweet, but she was actually very tough. I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. My daughter resonates with Buttercup a lot because she's like, she's fierce, and I would not have it any way other, so any other way.
Yeah.
So yeah, um, that's amazing. And it's also very like very generational. Like even my daughter loves it. Like when she started watching Powerpuff Girls for the first time, like she just loved it so much. She was hooked onto it. Now she has like her entire bedroom is full of Puff Girl stickers. Everything they're everywhere. So
Yes. We love to hear it. We love to hear it.
nice. Tell us a bit about the Seventh Kingdom and your comic book, your manga, and tell us a bit about the story, the arc, and things like that.
Yes. So, The Seventh Kingdom is an action adventure sci fi fantasy shonen manga series about a young woman, a sheltered young woman who essentially sets out on a very dangerous journey of revenge against a very powerful enemy, which is the Seventh Kingdom. Off the bat, we know the Seventh Kingdom is the enemy. Really, the plot twists and the turns come from what she learns along her way to battle or to face off with the Seven Kingdom. The Her desire for revenge is kickstarted by the decimation of her village in the first kingdom, and so she essentially travels all the way from the first across the planet to the seventh. So she travels across the world, but she also has to stop by each kingdom, essentially to ask a specific individual for help to amass a team to take on the seventh kingdom. And that is where she learns a lot. She grows a lot. There's transformation. There's also a lot of lessons about resilience and redemption, because she learns about the world around her, and she clashes with these dark realizations and revelations about herself, about her family past that was kept from her deliberately, and really about the other people around her, because this is something where, I mean, think of imagine thinking that your world is relatively safe and fine, and then you go out and realize not only is it the complete opposite of that, but there are a lot of people who are quite complicit in making it that way, and they're hiding. You
Hmm.
understand? So it's
Hmm.
got a multi-dimensional aspect of conflict to it, and this is really her adventure. I mean, it's got androids, aliens, monarchies, weapons, magic, everything you can think of.
Nice, nice. The
Thank you.
whole the whole 9 yards of, yeah, that's amazing. How many issues are you in already? And how far have you planned the arc?
Oh boy. So this is the first volume that we're prepping to release at the end of this year. And really, I'm actually in the process of writing volume 18. And I'm anticipating that the first season itself would more than
Whoa,
be a total of close to like 50 volumes. So it's long, but it's not one piece long, but it's lengthy enough for you to get a good story out of it. And I already know that I've actively been planning for seasons one, two, and three, all of which will be about the same length. So
that's amazing.
thank you.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So you're saying you're not doing a One Piece, but maybe more like Jujutsu Kaisen.
Right. Yeah, that's a good
in,
analogy.
in
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
realm. That's awesome. The art's fantastic, by the way. I have to say, like, I obviously love the dialogue and some of the. Uh, I love this page, by the way. You know why?
Why?
Because it has such minimalistic dialogue, which is very hard to write. Um, and without the writing complements the art so well that without even a single dialogue, it really works. So
Nice.
kudos to both you and the artist on working that out very well. Yeah.
Thank you. So, fun fact, actually, when I originally wrote this first volume, especially these scenes here, I wrote this and everything I have been writing, I write it under the pretense of it already being animated because my goal is to get this into an animated series, right? And so in my head, when I visualized this, I visualized it actually entirely without dialogue, with the exception of like what she says to the bartender. Then he pulls out that huge, gigantic laser gun, and the entirety of that sequence, it was meant to be just like action fight scene type thing. But I felt that for the sake of engaging the reader just a little bit, I wanted to have a bit of dialogue to pull them in, and that's actually where that is. But that's also why the dialogue is a bit
Hmm.
scarce in this area because originally it wasn't even intended to have that um, by nature of how it was
Nice.
visualized. Mhm.
That's amazing. That's
Thank you.
amazing. Are you also? I think there's there's some One Punch Man vibes to some of the characters. Like I feel like there's it's not exactly the same, but there's a bit of a vibe there. Do you like? Are you a big fan of One Punch Man?
That's actually very interesting. So I've not even, this is going to sound crazy. There's a number of anime I've not even watched, and that's one of them that I've not even watched. I was very much inspired by
Wow.
Samurai Champloo, for this particular sequence, actually. The fight between Mugen and Jean when they first meet each other in that old restaurant.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That is so amazing. But yeah, I think some of the fights have like, and it's quite possible that there's the styles are pretty similar, and the artist might have been like a big fan as well. So it's
Hmm.
quite possible that they might have taken that kind of direction. But like it has that vibe. So it's amazing.
Thank
Not
you.
complaining. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you told me about this last time that you have a unique way to release these books. Tell us a bit about that. How are you actually like releasing these books in print, and how can people actually pre-order these books?
Mm. So instead of having a general ability and availability of this series for people to pre-order, we've instated a window, pre-order window that opens three times for the remainder of this year. And so the first window actually opened August 23rd, which was my birthday. So I thought that was a good kickoff to that. And then the next window would open August 25th. Um, and then the third one, the final one for the year, would open around December. I have to confirm the exact date, but in essence, these windows are open for 72 hours. And during this 72-hour window, people can go to our website, rpxmediaproduction.com/T7K perk package, and they can actually pre order. a print copy of the manga with additional things like shirts or limited edition shirts with stickers. Eventually, we will be having key rings. We will be having figurines. We're in the process of getting some of these things made. Limited edition hoodies.
Hmm.
So they'll have the chance to buy everything. And I mean, we even have console stickers for like PlayStation 5 and Nintendo DS, Lite, and Switch, and all of these. So they'll be able to get all of this like in a package and it'll be sent to them in a custom box. Um, and that will be available for 72 hours for all three of those windows. And then once that window closes, it shuts. You can't get that particular merch anymore. And if you want to pre-order, you can order from TikTok, but you won't be able to get that bundle in particular. So it's very special. You also can only get access to the online
That's
scavenger hunt
fascinating.
too. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. I think that's very unique. Nobody's doing that at the moment. It's amazing that like the slip for limited edition stuff, because comics are essentially collectibles, right? Like you need, or and even like things that merchandise that comes along with comics is all collectibles. So it's awesome that you're giving the fans something unique every single time.
Mhm.
And that's I think that's what they come back for, right?
Right, right,
So
yeah. The experience.
the experience of it, exactly.
Mhm.
During this period, like, do you have like variant covers and things like that as well? Like, more like more traditional American comics, but they have like different covers for like limited edition ones by specific artists and things like that. Do you have that as well?
I see what you mean. So actually, this is another aspect of the collector's item adventure with the Seven Kingdom T7K. So we have, and you saw it at the very beginning, the cover page for the sneak a peek edition. The cover art for every
Yeah.
single sneak a peek will always be different from the full volume. And that is because the sneak a peek will provide kind of a hint. Like, right, that image with the fire around her, that will actually provide a hint as to a major event that takes place in the full volume. And you can't really see it in this particular screen grab, but the full art, that art actually, like right at her foot, there's like a picture of a burning flower. And that actually is something that is going to be referenced in the
Yeah.
full volume when something really traumatic happens and everything is
Hmm.
on fire. That's like a scene that you get in a panel. So that is something I'm doing with every volume.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
not necessarily different cover art and limited edition cover art, but more so collector's items for the sneak a peek preview itself. And this is a good way for people to gauge a taste of the story and see if they like it. And this is also a way for them to equally participate in that collectible aspect. So you have the full and the preview cover art.
That's fantastic. No, I
Mm,
think I think that's great.
thank
Like,
you.
for some comics I get like two or three different variant covers. The inside art is pretty much the same. Like, it's
Mhm,
not going to change at all, but I still get all the different covers, because I yeah, I feel like every artist does such a unique job on creating those things, right? And they have a different feel to it. So yeah.
mhm. Thank you.
That's fantastic. And also, like, I feel like what you're doing is great, because a lot of uh, now, like, with crowdfunding that goes on for like a month, it becomes really intense to just promote that over a period of month, that 1 month.
Mhm,
Doing it in a shorter burst of time actually makes a lot of sense. And yeah. No,
mhm.
amazing. I really like that.
Thank you.
Uh, we were actually thinking of doing something similar. Like, we were thinking of introducing drops on our website. So, like, we'll have like time bound drops. So a
Mhm,
particular comic is only available for 24 hours, and people can, it's not really a pre order. They just order it, for that time. And then
mhm,
we just close the window. So,
mhm.
um, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's fascinating.
No, I mean, you have to find ways
Awesome.
to provide that sense of like that urgency for people to want to get it. And so, I mean, you can be creative with the writing process, you can be creative with the illustration, but that's another aspect of creativity you have to lean into that not many people think about. So,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as independent creators ourselves, like we, it's a double-edged sword, right? Like we like to, we like the fact that we have full control over the creativity, how we want to shape these characters, how we want to write the story, how we want
Mhm.
the art to be, and things like that. We have like 100% control over that. But at the same time, it comes with this whole baggage of like we have to market our own book, and it's our job to actually put it in people's hands and distribute it. And, so it comes with like a lot of other aspects.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. People have no idea.
Things that are not super creative.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
No, no, that's amazing. So I have to ask you, what's your process as a writer? Like, if you don't mind sharing it, because a lot of people who listen to the show are also writers and aspiring writers. So I would love for them to actually get an idea of what's the process of writing a manga like this is.
Yes, I can. So, this is going to be edited, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, really quickly, can I run and I'm cooking dinner. Can I go and turn something on my stove real quickly? I'm so sorry.
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. That's okay. No worries.
So my process, I think, is a bit unusual from other mangaka authors because a lot of people are very much caught up in like they create their little table where they have like exposition, the rising action, climax, falling action, resolution. And some people I've even heard start with beat sheets. I don't do that. I don't do that at all because I'm a filmmaker by trade. And as a filmmaker, especially as a director, when you're working with actors, your goal when working with actors to get the most convincing story and portrayal is to get them to understand their characters. And you also have to understand the characters in order to be able to relay that to the actors. Now, I say this because for me, I actually start with character annotations. And that is essentially a full on breakdown of the character's personality. What are they motivated by? What's their emotional objective? So on and so forth. And when I even have a set of verbs, like when you're working with actors, you have to, a good director is going to say, I see you, I see you trying to beg instead of beg, persuade, right? You have to know how to use your verbs right when you're working with actors. And so I have a set of verbs even when I, to like prepare me when I'm writing about a character to say that this character analyzes, this character processes, this character, so on and so forth. But I say all of this because when you understand who your characters are and when you know them so well that you can throw them into any situation and you know how they'd respond, then you can write a story. And really, at that point, the story starts to write itself. You just need a general overview of what's going to happen in the episode. What is the major action? What is the major point of conflict? What are some questions that are trying to be answered? Once you have that down, you can start writing. And if you get bored trying to follow that cookie cutter formula that you have laid out, you can add a twist in there, still maintain, still stay true to the original plot line, but still add something unique that makes it exciting for you as a writer, knowing how your character is going to respond. So it's not going to feel like you're veering off. So I say all of that to say, like, that's my
Mm,
writing process, which may sound really kooky to some people. Um, but it allows me to put in a certain level of detail when I'm writing to where when the illustrators read the script, and this is something that Walla, who's been like the head illustrator that I've been working with for the majority of the series, there's two. There's Walla and Alicia. I interact with Walla a little bit more, and Walla is who I established a good connection with before. And Walla basically said to me that I always know what I want, and they'll fill in the details and I can point them in the right direction. I'm just like that when it comes to my storytelling. I'm very detailed and meticulous. So, like when I write enough detail for them to have a
mm,
vivid picture. And that's so integral to my
mm.
process. And then really, this has all been
Mm.
online, by the way. We've never met each other in person, much less even turned on our cameras during meetings. Like, we don't know what one another look like.
That's
We could walk past each
fantastic.
other on the street and not know. So this has been entirely on Discord.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. No, it is such a craft to actually write beautifully detailed, stories and characters. I think like when I usually write, I spend a lot of time writing character backstories, and a part of
Mm-hmm.
my brain starts saying, "You're getting self-indulgent. Come on, stop doing that." And I'm like, "No, I have to do it. I have to do it because that's how I do world building." So
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
no, it's important.
that's amazing. And yeah, I think like every person has their own twist. Like you said, not for the story, but also for the process, right? Every person has a little twist of themselves
Hmm.
on the writing process, because it's so personal. It has to work for you, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So good. Like I'm so glad that you gave such a good insight into your writing process. I think before we go into the next section, my last question would be, what kind of characters fascinate you? What kind of characters do you like to write?
The characters that fascinate me the most are really the psychotic ones. I don't know if that says a lot about me, but I say this because the characters, not just that they're psychotic, but they are almost unassuming, meaning you look at them and you don't think anything's off, you don't quite see it, you don't quite sense it. Maybe something is a bit off, a little bit disconcerting,
Mm,
and you can brush it off because they're charismatic, or because everyone likes them, or because they have a nice presentation, right? The kind of characters who have like the dark triad in them, the Machiavellianism, narcissism, psychopathy, and they're so highly intelligent that they're very good at hiding it. And they say things
mm,
that give peeks and hints into their personality, and you have moments where you see like an outburst. So, for example, I was actually watching Outlaw Star recently. I don't know if you're familiar with that anime.
yeah,
Okay, so Outlaw
yeah, I
Star,
am. Yeah, yeah.
there's a character, I forgot, McDougal, one of the McDougal brothers, the one with the blue hair. He was like hilarious to me because he has this really pretty boy persona. He's the android, but he's like really pretty, and he's like got a thing for Melfina. And then when she doesn't say the answer that he wants, he goes from being this attractive cool boy to just being unhinged and shrill. Like I remember him like screaming at times, and it just like I'd like laugh because I was like the 0 to 100 transformation when like his real colors come out. Those are my favorite characters.
Mm,
Another example that's not in manga or anime would actually be Hal, Rose DeWitt Bukater's fiance in Titanic, who presents so well, who looks very well put
mm,
together, but he was a complete menace, a complete bully, complete jealous psychopath. Those are the characters that fascinate me as a writer.
yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think like there is something really fascinating about characters that are very edgy, and yeah, the fact that you can't predict the next action is what actually makes it very enticing, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing. So, yeah, the next section is where I put you on the spot. I want to know, an audience want to know, what are the top five pop culture things that you like?
Hmm.
It could be
These are
anything. It could be a movie, a TV show. You know.
okay. Um, so Attack on Titan, um, the
Mm,
series Erased. Not a lot of people have heard about that, but it's a really good series because I like the mystery in it, and I
okay.
am someone who, when it comes to mystery, sometimes within the first, if not the first five, within the first 10 episodes, I tend to be able to clock who the hiding psychopath is, who's the culprit, or at least you have a suspicion. And Erased was a really good journey, and kind of just playing with you until it gets to that point where you figure out who it is. Um, and then I would say Samurai Champloo. And Samurai Champloo, like I said, inspired the opening scene, the opening fighting sequence for the sneak peek edition of Volume One. But I also like when I find a series that I can appreciate for its music and for its illustration, for its tone, for the thoughtfulness put into the characters. I feel that that is a series that I genuinely appreciate. It could being someone who loved Kill Bill and finding out that the animated sequence in the first Kill Bill movie was illustrated by the people who illustrated Samurai Champloo. I thought that was really cool. That's what drew me in. And then watching it and hearing the
Yeah,
music
yeah.
that back then, like lo-fi was not popular. No one knew who New Jabez was. So all that whole series was just an adventure to dive into in every aspect.
So amazing.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
So we are up to what, three? Two more.
Two more. Oh man.
Hmm.
Another favorite pop culture thing that I like is this is a movie. I like the movie The Prestige by Christopher Nolan. I respect Christopher Nolan as a
Oh
director
wow.
in general. I love that particular film because it was very meticulous, methodological, and he does an excellent job at pulling you in. You think the magic trick or the deception is only happening between the characters, and you, the audience member, are being tricked because you realize that there were two twin brothers who were switching out the whole time. That is genius. I love that kind of a plot twist. And I love
Yeah.
when he is imaginative, like Inception, things like that. When he does work like that, it's always a treat. And that is a movie where I love just the plot twist that hits you and then the double plot twist that hits you. Um, it was just
Yeah.
great all around, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lastly,
I love that choice so much. I love that choice so much because Prestige for a very long time was just one of my favorite movies, and it's not just it's not just about magic. It's actually about movies, right? Like the way he talks about like three structures of you know
yes,
of a magic act.
yeah,
It's actually like talking about a three parts of a movie structure. So
yes.
like it's about magic. It's also about magic of movies. So Prestige, the final act. Yeah, so good. Yeah.
Um, so my
Sorry, I
last.
interrupted you. The last one.
No, no worries, no worries. There's a lag, so I'm realizing I'll say something and you don't hear it until later. But gosh, the final thing I would have to say. Oh, oh, this is tough. I'm stuck between Alien, the movie Alien, the original one, and like Hayao Miyazaki's like Kiki Delivery Service. Two completely different things, but I like them both equally. One
uh,
because I love sci-fi and I love how
you can have
terrifying.
a tie.
Ty, okay, okay, that helps. Um, yeah, I like those both. I like the horror and the terror aspect of Alien, and I love the imaginative sci-fi world of the spaceship and this mission. And like, of course, there's always that one person who is the secret psychopath who really wants the ship's mission to carry on at the detriment and expense of everyone else on the ship. Then you have the woman who's just determined to not die, and she has to go toe to toe with the alien. I really love that premise. It was very original when at the time that it had come out, but I equally love the lightheartedness of like Kiki's Delivery Service. One, because I related so much to her experience and her journey, but also because Hayao Miyazaki has always been a storyteller where, as grim as he can be, which most people don't know that he's actually quite a he's like his personality very much contrasts with the artwork that he puts out. He embeds very profound messages in these lighthearted children movies, and that's what I respect about it, is that as beautiful and gripping as it is, there's also a
Yeah,
lot that you can take from it as an adult and as a child.
I
Um,
100% agree on that. I
mm,
like My Neighbor Totoro is such a melancholic movie, but it's done so beautifully and gently that like a kid can enjoy that too, and
mm,
like as an adult, I actually felt the sadness in the whole like in the tone of that movie. So
yeah,
like it's yeah, I think he just treats his material with so much care
yeah,
that yeah, it just elevates it to another level. So yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
yeah. So I think,
And Alien, on the other hand, is such a great choice because I think those two things are like such an amazing contrast. Alien, I feel, is like one of the scariest horror movies ever made, because what's worse than being stuck in that vessel in space with something that will just kill you in a second, right? That's It's horrifying.
Yes. Yes, I agree. Um,
Yeah, it's also very yeah, like it's also very like uh like it has very like sexual and those kind of undertones as well, like in the whole alien thing, like
mhm,
yeah, it's a very like it has so many layers to it. I always love like watching the original Alien, and then
mhm.
like Alien 2 is so different. Like James Cameron just brings a very different energy to it. Like it's about
Yes.
motherhood and things like that. So it's
Yes.
so different. Yeah. I used to I like a lot of these movies that are treated differently in every, like they have the same concept but a different director with a new voice comes in and just treats the material very differently. Just gives a very new perspective on those things, right? So yeah.
Right. Mhm.
Awesome. We're coming close to time, but probably before we go, just give us a quick spiel about your book, a quick pitch, and where should people order it from? We'll link to all those places in the video description. But I want you to take the stage and uh, give people a quick pitch about the Seventh Kingdom.
All right. Well, the Seventh Kingdom is a poignant and empowering tale about redemption, resilience, transformation, all presented in a sci-fi fantasy adventure. And I honestly, if you are someone who enjoyed Cowboy Bebop, Outlaw Star, Akira, the classic, or Princess Mononoke, then you're gonna enjoy this series. It's definitely for you. The illustration team behind it studied under Viz Media, so we've got a very talented team behind it, and I myself am an award-winning filmmaker. So we've got a powerful team behind this, and we're excited to have everyone read it and enjoy it and engage in even the scavenger hunt aspect of it, so you can learn little tidbits about it outside of the series itself. If you visit rpxmediaproduction.com/ the seventh number 7th kingdom, then you will see the official webpage where you can read the preview, you can join the pre-order wait list so that you can be notified as soon as the next pre-order window opens, because when it opens, it's only open for a short period of time and you blink and you miss it and it's closed. So I'm also going to be at Shao Kahn. I was invited by the voice actor behind Shao Kahn of Mortal Kombat to be a panelist at his convention that he's founding in Atlanta. So I'm going to be on that. I'm also going to be at
That's
Anime Weekend
amazing.
Atlanta. So come on out, check us out, and we'd love to see you.
Yay! So exciting. All the best for the conventions, and I hope that the next pre-order window goes as successfully as the previous ones and even more. So the preview is fantastic. Do give it a read. Get the books. They're fantastic. Yeah. All the best, Robbie, and I wish you all the success.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you for such a good time. I appreciate you.
Awesome.